Okay, we are recording. So go ahead, Pat.
Okay, so this is a Zoom with information about the Watercure to get a little bit more in depth and have Russell Mariani, my friend that I've known for, I don't know, 25 years or more. And I have been doing the Watercure for just about that long at least. So we'll let Russell give his presentation. And I just want to welcome everybody, and I'm glad you're here. And yes, and be ready with questions.
Okay, great. Thank you, Pat. Thanks very much. And hello, everybody. So yes, my name is Russell Mariani, and you see one of the images is Megan Moore. Wave, Megan. My wife and business partner. She and I co-founded the Center for Functional Nutrition many, many years ago. And one of the many things that we teach people is proper daily hydration, and which we affectionately refer to as the water cure. So, but before I say anything else, I would really love it if each one of you could just say your name, where you live, and whether or not you are new to the water cure, which is fine, and whether you've been doing it for a while. So could we just do that quickly, starting with Kathy Hashley.
Yep, I'm in St. Louis, and I'm one of Pat's Marco Polo buddies, and my two mastermind group people are on here, and I started somewhat last week. I think it would have been maybe a week and a half. Quit drinking the ice water, and I started putting, I was just looking at it again, your gray salt. I had the Himalayan salt, and then the other day,
that's fine.
And then the other day I found sea salt.
Okay, great. Any good quality sea salt is fine in the very beginning.
Okay. And I started out with the teaspoon in the gallon, and it was a bit salty, so I've backed off a little bit on that. So in I usually get about a half a gallon a day. I've put it on the counter, and I'm not sure it's as warm as what I hear Pat say she does hers. It's room temperature.
Yeah, so, that's okay. Let's sorry to interrupt you, Kathy.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Let's get into those details in just a minute. I just want to say hi to everybody. So Jean Smith, where do you live?
I live in Bend, Oregon, which is on the southern Oregon coast.
Bend, Oregon. I think.
And I've been doing the Bandon. No, not Bend. Not Bend. Bandon.
Oh, Bandon. Yes, but I spoke to you a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes, you did.
Yes,
you did.
Great. Very good. Well, welcome to the call. And how long have you been doing the water cure, approximately?
2 or 3 weeks now.
Okay, great. Very good. All right, Erin Murphy, you're next. I'm going clockwise.
All right. I am also from St. Louis, and I read the document, and I've kind of been playing with the water cure for the last week, but I had been doing a different way of intaking salt previously. So I'm kind of trying to figure out the difference.
Okay, great. Yeah, please ask that question later about the salt, because online there are a difference of opinions, and of course I have my opinion based on learning directly from Dr. B and doing it a particular way for 25 years. Okay, so Megan Moore, I think you live in South Hadley, Massachusetts. You're muted. You're muted.
I do indeed live in South Hadley, Massachusetts. And I believe I have been doing the water cure not quite as long as you have, Russell, but almost. So a long, long time. It's just part of my daily regime. And it's actually something that I really enjoy. I love the warm, salty salt water in the morning. That's the first thing that goes into my mouth.
Could you quickly say if there was one benefit that you have experienced over all those years that you've been properly hydrated, what would it be?
Oh gosh, Russell. I think just a sense, a sense that I'm of self-care, that I'm taking good care of myself. And my body, to use a phrase, my body doesn't have cries for water. So I feel very well hydrated. And that takes consistency, and it's taken the consistency for me, like I said, to create a habit, and that habit for me is to drink it every morning. But also for me, there's a sense of comfort. And as I said, I think it actually comes from the warmth of the water in the morning. I mean, I really enjoy that. So there is a sense of comfort at this point.
Great. Thank you, Megan. And Tasha, you're next, and then Pam.
Hi, mostly already realised I'm Tasha. I'm from Tasmania in Australia. I was introduced to this by Jean, who was in my original Right Line Eating boot camp, and we've got a smaller Marco Polo group where a group of us chat, and she's been talking about it for a few weeks about the Watercure. I've looked at the website. I didn't actually get the PDF, so I haven't read that, but I have looked at the website, and I seem to recall years ago looking into hydration more and finding something about that. So I'm not unaware. I just haven't done it yet. And and James mentioned things too, but so I'm here to find out. Okay.
Well, that's great. So what day is it, and what time is it in Tasmania?
It is 10:11 in the morning on Thursday.
All right. Well, that's great. Halfway around the planet. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You're only the second person I've ever met from Tasmania.
Well, there's only 500,000 people living here, so that's pretty good going.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much. And Carrie, you stay on your treadmill, no problem. But Pam, tell us where you live. I think you said St. Louis.
Yes, I live in St. Louis, close to Six Flags, if people know that. And I have been on, the only water regime I've been on is that which with Bright Line and keeping my water up, but I haven't done the warm water. Kathy Hashley is in my not getting games mastermind. Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, and she sent me the list. I have not totally read it yet, the recipe, I should say. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay. I think Kathy started and I have not.
That's fine. Thank you, Pam. Thanks for being with us. Donna, can you hear us? Would you like to say where you are calling from? Zooming in?
Yes, I'm from St. Louis as well. And I have not really begun the protocol, but I've read it and I'm interested in learning more.
Okay, great. Very good. Okay, so thanks for being with us. Okay, so let's see. In terms of a presentation, I kind of share my story in the document. So I had suffered from anxiety attacks and periodic episodes of clinical depression for many years, 25, 30 years, and went to dozens and dozens of practitioners to try to get to the cause of that and never could find it. And then one day at a seminar I was giving in 1997, at the lunch break, a young man handed me this book. Your Body's Many Cries for Water, which is an original book written by Dr. Batman Gelage, a medical doctor who was trained in allopathic medicine. And I read chapter 5 called Stress and Depression. And basically, what he was saying throughout the entire book was that when the human body becomes even slightly dehydrated, it will cry out to you, the owner of the body, with one or more symptoms, assuming that you're going to interpret the symptom correctly and hydrate yourself so that that symptom will go away. So that's the basic premise. So whether it's a headache, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's arthritis, whether it's heart palpitations, whether it's, you name it, you name a negative symptom, this medical doctor and researchers said in some cases, 100% of the cause is chronic, unintentional dehydration. And where it's not 100% of the cause, it's still a major part, a major percentage of the cause. So I read the book on the flight home from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Boston, Massachusetts. And on Monday morning, I called the publisher to see if I could talk with the author. And I was very lucky in that they put me through, and I ended up talking to Dr. B for about 2 hours because I couldn't believe that there was something that simple, drinking half your body weight in ounces of water per day, that could solve not only the problem I was experiencing, but all these other problems. But he assured me over and over again that if I would simply do this, that it would take somewhere between 14 to 28 days for my body to get properly hydrated once I was doing his Watercure correctly and consistently. So I had nothing to lose. I had tried pretty much everything else out there, and nothing had made an impact on my anxiety attacks or my depression. So I started on the Watercure, drinking. So I weigh 200 pounds. So I told him that even though I was a health educator and practitioner, I had never drank than 20 ounces of water a day because I was taught there was plenty of water in the fruits, in the vegetables, in the grains, in the tea, and all the other things I was eating and drinking, that I really didn't need to drink that much water. And he was absolutely clear and insistent that you cannot count any of those other things towards your hydration. That the only thing that you can count towards hydration is the water and salt. I poured the water from the quart bottle into this little cup here. So again, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that there was something this simple out there. So I simply tried it. And I literally, on day one, I drank 100 ounces of water a day. I spaced it out through the day, and you can read about that, and I can address that, in a few minutes. And so after 5 days, I didn't feel any difference. After 10 days, I didn't feel any difference at all. I was really stuck. I was really having a very difficult time. Megan can attest to that. But on day 14, I woke up, still didn't feel any difference. But at lunchtime, I came into the kitchen to make what was going to be my third quart of water. And as I started sipping it, the lights came back on. And not partially. I went from literally the worst depression I had ever experienced in my life to feeling completely normal, 100% normal. So I was pretty excited about that, as you can imagine. In fact, Megan can tell you, I was screaming in the kitchen, I can't believe it, I can't believe it, I feel fine, I'm fine again. So And from that day in March 1997 to this day in May 2021, I've never had one anxiety attack, never had another one, and I've never had 5 minutes, 30 seconds of depression in all that time. So for me, the Watercure was transformational. It changed my life. And most of the other areas I was doing pretty well in. So I didn't have any major gaps in my self-care. But in the area of hydration, I had an enormous gap in my knowledge and in my practice. So again, for me, it was transformational. It changed my life. And I have done the Watercure every day for the last 25 years because I never wanted to experience those terrible negative symptoms. And I knew from my own experience that it was the water and the salt that made all the difference. So between I pretty much learned the Watercure the way I teach it within the first couple of months. But I just wanted to share one last piece, and then we should go to some Q&A, that questions that you have. So what turned out to be the last book that Dr. B wrote, his sixth book, was published in 2004. And in November of 2004, I got a call one day on my phone, and it was Dr. B. We talked from time to time over the years, but on this particular day, he was calling me because he had just found a letter that I had written to him from a couple years earlier. It had fallen behind his desk, and he was calling me to ask permission to publish it in his new book. And so my letter occurs here on page 108. And many people have found me through his book. But basically, in that last conversation that I had with him, of course, I got to thank him again for saving my life, changing my life. But I went over with him the 7 steps of the Watercure as he taught it to me and as I teach it to other people. And he agreed 100% with everything. The only question he had was about the temperature of the water. He didn't quite understand why I was insisting on that. And I explained to him that most of the people that I work with have very serious inflammatory bowel conditions. And so for them, drinking cold water is irritating. And when he heard that, he understood completely. So let's start there. So it's not absolutely necessary for a healthy person or relatively healthy person to drink body temperature water. Okay? So let's be clear about that. I always do that first thing in the morning. And most of the day, especially in the cold weather, I go into the kitchen and reheat my water. And so I'm drinking body temperature water all day long. As Megan said, I find it comforting, but I also find that my body hydrates better with the body temperature water. But it works well for me. I definitely recommend it for anybody that has a very serious health condition. But if you don't have a serious health condition, you should feel free to drink room temperature water. But I would be very careful, and I would caution anybody to be drinking cold water because your body has to exert energy to warm up the cold water. So let me stop there, and please just raise your hand if you have a question, and let's see what the questions are. And if you don't have any questions, that's fine too. So everybody, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jean.
Is it all right to drink more than half your body weight in water?
Yeah, very good question. So half our body weight in ounces of water, I weigh 200 pounds, so I drink 100 ounces of water a day, is the minimum requirement for anybody. Okay, so that's the minimum. So the real formula is it's based on body weight and activity level. So if you're exercising and sweating like, who is with us? Kelly's on her treadmill. So if you're exercising and sweating, oh, she's outside. You may need to drink more than half your body weight in ounces. If you live in a very hot climate, if it's very humid, you may need to drink more than half your body weight in ounces. So half your body weight in ounces is the minimum. Even if you're sitting in a chair, not doing anything, your body uses up a lot of water for metabolism. We breathe out almost a quart of water in terms of carbon dioxide. Our body uses a quart of water every day to produce digestive enzymes to help with digestion. And our body uses up almost a quart of water to process all of our food and to eliminate waste. So again, half our body weight in ounces is really the minimum for everybody.
If I understand that.
Thank you.
No, go ahead, Kathy.
Understand it right. You warm your water in the morning so that and do you stick a thermometer in it so you know where it is, or do you just kind of have an idea now of how?
Yeah, I don't stick a thermometer in it, but I probably did 25 years ago, to get a sense of what body temperature was like. So it's just warm. I think everyone has a sense of what body temperature is. But if you're curious, of course, use a thermometer. But once you do that you usually don't have to do that. So it's not exact. It doesn't have to be exactly 98.6. It just has to be warm. Or it doesn't have, like I said in the beginning, I just find that works best for me. And most of the people I work with find it also very comforting and easy. The warm water goes down easier than cold water. So that's interesting. A lot of people have told me that they're having trouble drinking that much water. And then I ask them, well, what temperature is it? And they tell me it's cold. I say, just try the body temperature for a week. And then they call me back and they say, oh, that was much easier. It was much easier to drink 70 ounces or 80 ounces or, whatever they had to consume. So it's something, it's something to consider.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you. I have two quick questions. Hopefully they're quick for you. One is a Berkey filter good for filtering water? And two, I'm an Esselstyn Furman follower where 0 salt is recommended. And I do think that the way the Watercure works, it's different than adding salt to your food, but I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, those are great questions. Is that Donna or was that Carrie?
Carrie.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. So first question, very short answer. Yes, the Berkey filter is a very good filter. And the second question is, there's an enormous difference between organic quality sea salt and commercial table salt. So all the doctors and health practitioners are 100% correct. We should not consume table salt in any way, shape, or form. We should not consume commercial, highly processed, bleached and dried out salt. That's very toxic to the human body. But a very tiny amount of the sea salt, Celtic sea salt, Himalayan sea salt, contains over 40 minerals and trace minerals. And those minerals and trace minerals function as electrolytes, allowing the water molecules into our cells. So we're not drinking the water to flush our system. We're drinking the water to get those water molecules into our brain cells, into our kidney cells, into our liver cells, into our nerve cells. Because every cell of our body is at least 55% water. Every biochemical action and reaction that happens inside of our body is happening in a water matrix. And if you are even slightly dehydrated, then all those miraculous functions of our cells don't function properly. Okay, so if you are concerned about the salt, don't start with 1/4 teaspoon per quart. Start with a pinch, just a couple of grains of salt. And you'll find that that's just very effective. But the second part of that answer, Carrie, is that sea salt is categorically different than commercial table salt. And I remember one of the quotes from Dr. B, it might even be a chapter title, but he says, "A salt-free diet is utterly stupid." In order of importance, oxygen, water, sodium, and potassium are the primary nutrients used by every cell of your body. If you were to examine the pH of your blood cells, they're identical to salt water, ocean water, 7.35 to 7.45. The pH of our lymphatic fluid is just like the ocean. So our natural condition, the natural pH of our blood and lymph is slightly salty. So
Thank you.
Very good question.
I appreciate that. I actually love the taste of the salt water, so it does not bother me to drink it. So
okay, great.
I like to hear that.
Yeah, fabulous. Thanks, Carrie. Erin, did you have a question?
Yeah, so when it comes to like the amount of salt, so I don't eat grains. I can't eat beans, so I eat a lower carb diet. And I was always told that because of that, the body will flush water and salt faster. So you need more than what you'd be getting with doing this recipe. So thoughts on that?
I'm not quite sure of the question. So maybe you
So it says 1/4 teaspoon to every 32 ounces of water, but I feel that my body needs more salt than that. Is that okay? Is that not okay?
Gotcha. I'm sorry, Erin. Thank you for repeating it. Yes, it's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. You will have a sense, everybody has a sense of when their body is improving because they've changed something or not improving. And with hydration, I mean, basically, if you consume too much salt, you will be thirsty. Even if you consume the correct amount of water, if you consume too much salt, and I've done this, accidentally many times, I'll feel that in my mouth as like thirst.
Okay.
So that's the symptom from your body if you've had too much salt.
Do you also have that if you are not having enough salt?
Yes. Interestingly, yes. But doctor, when we feel thirsty in our mouth and we know we haven't, it's not because we've had too much salt or too much water. Dr. B was emphatic in saying that that's one of the last signals from your body. So to be actually thirsty means you're really dehydrated. So you don't want to, thank you for asking this. So you don't want to rely. So there's a phrase out there in the health world that says, eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty. But this information says, if you wait until you're thirsty, you're waiting way too long. Your body is, very dehydrated at that point. So the Watercure teaches us to be drinking water, sipping water all through the day so that the body never becomes dehydrated.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so with what I was doing before I started the Watercure, I was taking in a lot more sodium, and I have found myself to be thirstier now that I have lowered that amount to. I'm not even as low as what your formula is here. So am I dehydrated, or am I have to figure out if I need more salt or if I'm actually dehydrated now, because now I'm thirsty where before I really wasn't.
Okay, so are you drinking half your body weight in ounces of water?
Yes.
Okay. And so, but you decreased the salt and then you started getting thirsty again, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would say that you need a little bit more salt in the water. I think you should feel,
Okay.
I think you should feel free to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but that's really good. And this is why, to me, this reflects on the most important thing, which is that each of us have a responsibility to listen to our own body and not follow any prescription. You know, we all have a sense of what we need. And, you know, as Erin is saying, she might need a little more salt than what other people are getting because of her diet, because of what she's learned and the choices that she's making. So that's, to me, the most important lesson. Listen to my body and honor what I hear to the best of my ability. So that's great. Thank you for that question.
Got another one.
Okay, great. Please go ahead.
Okay, so is there any specific reason, like why sip versus, you know, taking more than the 1 to 2 ounces?
Oh, well, sipping to me is drinking down 1 or 2 ounces. So
Okay.
What you don't want to do is drink 6 or 8 ounces at a time.
Why not?
Good question. So if you do that, I mean, you could try this. What you'll feel is the water sloshing around in your stomach.
Okay.
Okay. So, it's not really seriously problematic. It's not going to ruin your life or anything. But when you sip the water, it diffuses through the stomach, like instantly, and goes directly into your blood, which is where we want the water to go. If you drink 6 or 8 ounces or more, I mean, some people just glub, 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 you know, they drink 16 ounces at a time. And your body, of course, wants to send all that water through the stomach, but when you drink that much, it can't do it. So it will sit in your stomach for 20 or 30 minutes or more before it finally diffuses out into the blood. So depending on your activity level, you can feel bogged down by the water. Okay? And so if people drink too much at a time, they can feel full. But if you sip 1 or 2 ounces at a time, you'll never feel full. I drink a full 32 ounces of water every single morning before I sit down and have breakfast. And every morning when I sit down and have breakfast, I am aware that I have consumed 32 ounces of water and my stomach is completely empty. There's no water in it. And even after 25 years, I still find that really fascinating because you want your stomach empty before you put food in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go ahead.
So it's better to drink. So if I had to choose between not drinking all of my water versus maybe drinking the 6 to 8 ounces, I'm better off to just go ahead and drink the 6 to 8 ounces all at once to get it in, because my body will eventually use it, but it'll kind of hang out in my stomach longer.
Yes. Short answer, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, great questions. Really, it's fun. I mean, it's next to breathing oxygen. You know, you can only deprive your body a few minutes of oxygen, and then you're out of here. And second to that is hydration. It's that important, and millions and millions of people are chronically underhydrated. And it's a contributing factor to any negative symptom that you have. And so learning this and doing this correctly and doing this consistently is a life-changing thing for so many people. I mean, everyone, I think, everyone who does it, who learns it, and then does it correctly, consistently, it is just another thing that you can do and you can be 100% confident about that's totally safe and totally effective in helping your body to do what it's trying to do 24/7, which is to optimize your health and well-being. So it's very cool.
Russell,
Go ahead.
can you speak to drinking it plain versus mixing powders in it?
Can I speak to drinking it plain or mixing what in it?
Powders or using juice or some other food?
Oh, yeah, very good question. So again, Dr. B was emphatic. The only thing the only thing your body needs and requires for hydration is water and a little bit of salt. If you add anything else to that water, especially anything that's food, like a powder or like lemon juice or anything that's food-based, your body has to digest that. And so it's not quite the same. People are under the impression that they can drink fruit juice and address their hydration. They can at some level, but it's categorically different to drink the water and the salt and to try to address hydration with fruit juice or tea or water with honey or water with honey and lemon and all these other things that people do. He was just 100% emphatic. And I work with people who have compromised immune systems and very serious health conditions. And they've come to me trying to hydrate through all these other means and methods. And when they do the Watercure, they have a breakthrough. They have a breakthrough. So I trust, after 25 years, the wisdom of the body and the wisdom of this Watercure. It's just really, really, really powerful. Okay. Anybody else?
It's Carrie. Oh, sorry, Tasha. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to talk about the anxiety and depression because I've suffered with that myself, and I guess I didn't realize it at the time, but when I was in the depths of it, I was probably drinking even less water. And I've always noticed that if I had a headache and I thought, I've often joked and said, I think the glass of water you drink does more for the headache than the fact that you took a pill. And if I feel groggy in the afternoon, I've always said too that a big glass of water does more than a cup of coffee ever will. But I sort of didn't think about the anxiety and depression as being a part of that. But how could that impact that way?
How could dehydration cause anxiety?
Yeah.
Because your nerve cells are becoming dehydrated. And as soon as your nerve cells, as soon as your brain cells become dehydrated, they start to freak out.
So it just causes that feeling of agitation.
Exactly.
And then because you've got the agitation, it leads you to feel upset. So then that creates a depression.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's powerful.
That kind of makes sense.
It's like your body loves you unconditionally, is working on your behalf 24/7, knows exactly how to heal you, how to keep you well, how to prevent problems. The last thing your body wants to experience is anxiety or depression. And so it's going to produce that symptom. Your body assumes that you grew up in a different time and place, not the 21st century where no one has been taught anything at all about proper hydration. Your body creates that symptom assuming that you're going to get the message and start drinking water.
I know, right? It's sort of saying, it's screaming at you saying something's wrong, and we're looking around for the answer and pinning it on all these other things.
Exactly.
We needed some water.
Exactly. When people have anxiety and depression, they're always told it's their circumstances. they're always told it's in their head. They're not processing properly, or they're not understanding things. And in some situations, that might be true. But in all situations, part of the cause is dehydration.
Yes, because I know when I'm taking better care of myself and drinking more, I've always felt better, more positive, more upbeat, things roll off my back. But then when I get in the mode of I've been too busy or something and I don't drink enough water, then my anxiety levels pick up. That makes so much sense.
100%. 100%. It's, like I said, it's transformational. When I went through my experience, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I believed it because I could feel what a difference it made, but I was fearful for months. Even though I felt fine, I was concerned that the anxiety would come back. I was concerned that the depression would come back, because I still couldn't believe intellectually that something so simple could solve such a terrible problem. I mean, I suffered for 25 years and went to all kinds of doctors and paid all kinds of money. We're given this pill and that pill, or try this diet or that therapy, and primal screaming and psychotherapy. None of that stuff worked, because in my situation, 100% of my anxiety was due to dehydration. 100%.
It's incredible. Yes, I understand that there will be a disbelief period, but I really want to try it because I don't want to feel like that.
Right. Yeah. So I encourage all of you to pick up, go to his website, watercure.com, and next time you're in a bookstore or online and want to buy a book, pick up Your Body's Many Cries for Water. It's a seminal piece. It is absolutely among the most important research books ever written. And it's written for normal people. So you don't have to be a doctor and you don't have to be a scientist to understand it. And it is, I mean, basically there isn't a negative symptom that isn't connected to chronic unintentional dehydration. And it's important that, that word unintentional, we could take 100 people off the street of any major city in the world and ask them, is hydration an essential health habit? And 100% of them would say yes. Nobody questions that hydration is essential for our health. But that doesn't translate into people being properly hydrated. I knew all those years that I used to go out of my way to get spring water. I drove miles and miles to fill up gallon jugs, 5-gallon jugs of spring water. But that didn't mean drinking enough water every day. Really, totally changed my life. And so I would never dream of drinking less than half my body weight in ounces every day. It doesn't happen.
Hey, Carrie, did you have a question?
I do. I'm coming from a state of chronic, decades-long underhydration where I've gone days and days and days with only drinking coffee. And I'm trying to decrease my coffee consumption. But my question is, for somebody who doesn't drink water, even half my body weight is so ambitious. So the past week, I've been trying 16 ounces in the morning, 16 ounces in the afternoon. Is that still beneficial, like to work up to that point, or should I just go all in?
No, absolutely. And if you get a hold of the PDF that I sent to Pat, someone will make sure you get that, Carrie. I say emphatically, don't go from whatever level of consumption you're at to 100% compliance overnight. That's actually not smart, and it could cause, your body might be upset with that. So it's much better to build up gradually, like you're doing. So no worries at all. Build up gradually. I did it from 20 ounces a day to 100 ounces a day because I'm crazy, because I wanted to do that. And I was willing to take responsibility for anything that happened. I had no negative reactions at all, but it took, Dr. B said that once you are at full compliance levels of the water and the salt, it's still going to take 14 to 28 days for your body to really start to experience the benefits of hydration. Now, that does not mean that building up gradually isn't helping. Of course it's helping. Absolutely it's helping. But depending on what your symptoms are, you may not have that kind of breakthrough that I had until you're doing it correctly and consistently for at least 2, 3, or 4 weeks. Is that clear? Now.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. The other thing, Carrie, I would be remiss in my responsibility as a practitioner in general and a water hydration expert in particular. Dr. B also said that for every 8 ounces of coffee you drink, you may need to drink an extra 16 ounces of water on top of half your body weight in ounces. Coffee is one of the most dehydrating things that you can consume. Alcohol is one of the most dehydrating things that you can consume. Caffeine in any form is very dehydrating. So you just have to know that and, just do the best that you can.
Thank you. I was thinking about cutting down, and this has helped motivate me.
Very good. Keep in mind, the only beverage your body needs is water. All the other I love beer, and I love bourbon, and I love tea, and I love fruit juice. I love vegetable juice. I love all those things. But I am never under the illusion that those other things are a replacement for purified water and salt. Okay? So if I have other beverages, it's always in addition to my water, not as a substitute for the water. All right. How are we doing on time? Okay, 10 minutes.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah, Pam.
What other things, am I muted or not?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. What other bodily abnormalities or illnesses have you known that the water recipe helps?
All of them. Every single one of them. And Dr. B lists them all, in his many books. But basically, once you understand this basic premise, that your body cries out in the form of negative symptoms to alert you to the fact that your body is starting to become dehydrated. If you do not address the hydration with the first signal and you continue to stay dehydrated, then that state of chronic unintentional dehydration can lead to arthritis, can lead to cancer, can lead to MS, can lead to all of the chronic degenerative conditions. It's always a contributing factor to every major illness. What we're trying to do is to get to people before they develop a serious chronic illness, because they can all be prevented, not just by water. Water, proper daily hydration is one of 7 root cause areas that have been identified in the world of functional medicine. If you go to my website, you can see, you can access a PDF that explains about the other 6. But proper daily hydration is definitely one of the 7 root cause areas. To answer your question, Pam, and that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that question. every negative health condition is partly caused by chronic dehydration, which means that no matter what negative health condition you have, you can help it, you can help get rid of it by doing the water cure. In other words, being properly hydrated is part of the solution to every negative health condition that exists. So that's really good news.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I had an awesome experience that I'll briefly share. After I started doing the water cure a long time ago, I delivered mail for 32 years and had a lot of issues with my joints and everything. And of course, being overweight, as a lot of you ladies know about. I was suffering a lot, and I had bone on bone in my knee, and my back was hurting. And as soon as I started, I would have to sometimes, as I was not delivering mail at that time until I had a knee replacement, but I would have to stand and sort mail, and I would have to ice my knee, and I wouldn't be able to walk around the rest of the day. And I would ice my knee. And when I started properly hydrating, my knee stopped hurting. Like, I never used my ice pack again. And I still had to get a knee replacement because it's still bone on bone, but my spine felt much better. I always had back problems, and it's because the water wasn't getting into my cartilage and all that as cushioning in my joints. So once I started drinking, as Russell taught me, I was flabbergasted. I was amazed. And so I had a real big transformation thing just within like a week, because I was like, wow, I can walk in the concrete floors in Costco without any pain. It was kind of nice. So yeah, it really, I can really attest to and I've been doing it ever since, basically, the rest of my time since starting it. So it was in the 80s or the 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that, Pat.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Well, what I would propose to all of you is that, because it sounds like pretty much everybody's just getting started with the water cure, make sure you get the information, get the PDF that lays out the 7 steps of the water cure. And maybe a month from now, we can get together again and see how everybody's doing. I mean, that would be fun. So I'll leave that up to all of you. So just connect with Pat about getting together again in a month from now. But if anybody needs any information, you can go directly to Pat and or go directly to our website, whatever works for you. But Pat, why don't you just give everybody your email, or maybe everybody has your email, and then just wrap it up.
Okay, let me go to chat.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Good.
The easiest way for me this is one of my 4 emails.
So Pat putting her email in the chat box.
It's in the chat. That is, oops.
There you go.
Just say who I am.
My only question about the filter, do you have a specific filter that you prefer, or, and like I know Erin's got a really fancy filter on her whole house, but I have nothing but the refrigerator filter in the refrigerator for the water coming out of there. What should be, what's the best thing to do?
So I think Pat also has this information, but Megan and I recommend what's called a point of use system at your kitchen sink, so that all the water that you drink and all the water you use for cooking and is purified. So again, if you ask Pat for that information, if he doesn't have it, she'll get it from me and then send it to you. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. So
Thank you, Russell.
I really enjoyed it, and there were great questions. And congratulations to everyone to be at the beginning of your Watercure adventure. I promise you it is really special and it's truly transformational. So thank you all very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Russell.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Russell. Thanks,
Thank
Megan.
you.
Tasmania.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
All
for
right.
coming.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Night.
Good night.